Vegan. What a smart choice.
Our programs offer many languages. Please visit suprememastertv.com/schedule.
Nos programmes offrent plusieurs langues. Veuillez visiter suprememastertv.com/schedule.
Nuestros programas ofrecen varios idiomas. Visiten suprememastertv.com/schedule.
برنامه‌های ما شامل زبان‌های بسیاری است. از این وبسایت دیدن فرمایید suprememastertv.com/schedule.
Were I a nightingale, I should do after the manner of a nightingale. Were I a swan, I should do after the manner of a swan. But now since I am a reasonable being, I must sing to God. That is my work. Please continue watching for the practical wisdom of Stoic philosopher Epictetus.
Yassas. That means hello in Greek. I am Demetrius. The compassionate people of Crete Island admire your caring heart for all beings. May you be wondrously graced with the generosity of the divine. Epictetus was a Greek Stoic philosopher who lived in the 1st and 2nd centuries CE. He was born in Phrygia, present-day Turkey, and during his youth was a slave in Rome to an important administrator in the court of the emperor. At an early age, Epictetus developed a significant interest in philosophy. With his owner's permission, he studied under Gaius Musonius Rufus, who along with Epictetus is now considered one of the great Stoic philosophers of the Roman Empire. After acquiring his freedom in 68 CE, young Epictetus became a teacher of philosophy in Rome, later continuing his practice in northwestern Greece by founding a philosophical school there. Epictetus, who led a simple lifestyle with very few possessions, taught a practical philosophy to help people lead meaningful lives. He emphasized integrity, personal freedom, and self-mastery through the use of reason and virtue, which is required to live in accordance with nature. The detailed steps and techniques in this regard presented in his teachings illustrate Stoicism as a way of life. Epictetus' teachings have had an immense influence throughout the centuries, including on the great philosopher and Roman Emperor Marcus Aurelius, on early Christian moral thought, on current approaches to psychology and more, and continues to have an impact on many intellectuals, thinkers and philosophers around the world. The beloved Stoic philosopher and teacher was remembered as a lively speaker who was able to make his listeners feel his own insights. The Golden Sayings of Epictetus, compiled and translated by Hastings Crosley, contains over 180 sayings of the wise philosopher in the form of aphorisms, parables, and short lessons expounding on Stoic philosophy. We are now delighted to present to you selected excerpts from the Golden Sayings of Epictetus. Are these the only works of providence within us? What words suffice to praise or set them forth? Had we but understanding, should we ever cease hymning and blessing the divine power, both openly and in secret, and telling of his gracious gifts, whether digging or ploughing or eating, should we not sing the hymn to God? Great is God, for that he has given us such instruments to till the ground with. Great is God, for that he has given us hands and the power of swallowing and digesting, of unconsciously growing and breathing while we sleep. Thus should we ever have sung Yes and This, the grandest and divinest hymn of all? Great is God, for that he has given us a mind to apprehend these things and duly to use them. What then, seeing the most of you are blinded? Should there not be someone to fill this place and sing the hymn to God on behalf of all men? What else can I, that am old and lame, do but sing to God? Were I a nightingale, I should do after the manner of a nightingale. Were I a swan, I should do after the manner of a swan. But now, since I am a reasonable being, I must sing to God. That is my work. I do it, nor will I desert this my post, as long as it is granted me to hold it. And upon you too I call to join in this self-same hymn. How then do men act? As though one returning to his country, who had sojourned for the night in a fair inn, should be so captivated thereby as to take up his abode there. Friend, thou hast forgotten thine intention. This was not thy destination, but only lay on the way towards that place. No, but it is a proper place, and how many more of the sort there may be, only to pass through upon thy way. Thy purpose was to return to thy country, to relieve thy kinsman's fears for thee, thyself to discharge the duties of a citizen, to marry a wife, to beget offspring, and to fill the appointed round of office. Thou did not come to choose out what places are most pleasant, but rather to return to that wherein thou were born and were appointed to be a citizen. Try to enjoy the great festival of life with other men. But I have one whom I must please, to whom I must be subject, whom I must obey, God and those who come next to him. He has entrusted me with myself. He has made my will subject to myself alone, and given me rules for the right use thereof. Rufus used to say, if you have leisure to praise me, what I say is nothing. In truth, he spoke in such way that each of us who sat there thought that someone had accused him to Rufus. So surely did he lay his finger on the very deeds we did, so surely display the faults of each before his very eyes. But what says God? Had it been possible, Epictetus, I would have made both that body of thine and thy possessions free and unimpeded. But as it is, be not deceived, it is not thine own, it is but finely tempered clay. Since then, this I could not do. I have given thee a portion of myself, in the power of desiring and declining, and of pursuing and avoiding, and in a word, the power of dealing with the things of sense. And if thou neglect not this, but place all that thou have therein, thou shalt never be let or hindered, thou shalt never lament, thou shalt not blame or flatter any. What then? Seem this to thee a little thing? God forbid. Be content then therewith, and so I pray the gods. What says Antisthenes? Have thou never heard? It is a kingly thing, O Cyrus, to do well and to be evil spoken of. I but to debase myself thus were unworthy of me. That, said Epictetus, is for you to consider, not for me. You know yourself what you are worth in your own eyes, and at what price you will sell yourself. For men sell themselves at various prices. This was why when Florus was deliberating whether he should appear at Nero's shows, taking part in the performance himself, Agrippinus replied, "But why do not you appear?" He answered, "Because I do not even consider the question." For the man who has once stopped to consider such questions and to reckon up the value of external things is not far from forgetting what manner of man he is. Why? What is it that you ask me? Is death preferable or life? I reply, life. Pain or pleasure? I reply, pleasure. Well, but if I do not act, I shall lose my head. Then go and act. But for my part, I will not act. Why? Because you think yourself but one among the many threads which make up the texture of the doublet. You should aim at being like men in general, just as your thread has no ambition either to be anything distinguished compared with the other threads. But I desire to be the purple, that small and shining part which makes the rest seem fair and beautiful. Why then do you bid me become even as the multitude? Then were I no longer the purple. Joyful viewers, we thank you for your kind presence for today's program on Words of Wisdom. Please join us again tomorrow for part 2 of Selections from the Golden Sayings of Epictetus. Coming up next is The Real Love, a musical that unites hearts, part 20 of a multi-part series right after Noteworthy News. May your caring actions be rewarded in the infinite grace of heaven. Vegan, 'cause what we do to others will boomerang.
Our programs offer many languages. Please visit suprememastertv.com/schedule and suprememastertv.com/WOW